What if I tell you the key to your next career breakthrough isn't hidden in your qualification or skill set? What if it has nothing to do with working harder or waiting for your boss to recognize your potential? What if the real key to success lies somewhere unexpected? What if I tell you it lies in the bedroom? Now, you must think, woohoo, this talk is about sex. Well, it's not. At least not entirely. It is about something much more fundamental that shapes every part of our lives. Confidence. Just think about it. The bedroom is a place where we spend 1/3 of our lives. Yet, it is often a place where we make most of the compromises. You might be shivering through the night because your partner loves to turn the bedroom into a fridge. Or you're stuffing earplugs just to block out their earth-shaking snoring. Or you're wearing an eye mask to cover the screen light of their late-night Netflix marathon. All these small sacrifices might seem insignificant at the beginning, but over time, they erode something deeper, namely your sense of self-worth. What you tolerate in the bedroom will become a habit that quietly follows you into the boardroom, the workplace, where you spend another 1/3 of your life. But that is the place is all about power and presence. And now here's the catch. If you struggle to speak up at home, how could you find the courage to advocate for yourself at work? If you are afraid to ask the person closest to you about something you need, how could you step up to your boss, ask for a salary increase? Negotiate with your business partner about a budget increase, let alone to ask a seat at the table. So today, I'd like to show you, to challenge you to see how the journey to the corner office doesn't start with a resume. It starts with a conversation in the bedroom. So let me share a personal story. My husband Moritz, who is German, has been snoring as long as I could remember. And at the beginning, it was just a minor annoyance. But over time, it became unbearable. I was losing sleep, waking up every night, and growing exhausted. And of course, I was complaining here and there. Silently, I was throwing him the karate kick in the night and giving him the killer gaze in the next morning. I even considered to buy industrial strength earplugs. But the truth is, I never really asked him to do something about it. Because I told myself, what can he even do? He's asleep. And plus, someone cool like me does not want to come across as some high-maintenance wife complaining over something is so small. So many men snore afterwards. So I just adapted. Earplugs, white noise machine, dragging myself into the living room mid of the night. But night after night, I grew more frustrated and exhausted. Finally, there was this one night, he already started to snore before I even fall asleep. So I had no sleep and I just snapped. The next morning, when he was slowly more waking up, I just couldn't hold it anymore. So I shouted at him, "Es reicht! Ich kann nicht mehr mit dir schlafen." It's enough. I can't sleep with you anymore. And Moritz, completely caught off guard, unexpected, waking up still. What? No sex anymore? Man, what else is on their mind? No, I cannot sleep next to you anymore. Your snoring is waking me up every day for years. You must fix it. Now, in the meanwhile, wide awake by the shock of the potential horror of his sexless life, Moritz was wide awake and he sat up and looked at me with astonishment. And he said, "Wait, my snoring, is it that bad? I had no idea. Why didn't you say something much sooner?" And that moment, it hit me. Why hadn't I have spoken up much sooner? Why had I assumed that my discomfort wasn't worth addressing? Why was I afraid to ask the person who loves me the most about something that I clearly needed? If I had convinced myself that my sleeping wasn't worth addressing, what was I saying about my self-worth to the world? And here's the truth. Women do this all the time, especially in the bedroom. Raise your hand if you have ever pretended to have a headache just to avoid sex. I've been there. How often have you faked an orgasm just to get over with it? I've been there as well. If you're not raising your hand, the stats is 80%, by the way. Now, on a more serious note, why do you voluntarily take the pill, even when it clearly messes up your hormone, instead of asking your partner to consider a vasectomy? All these small yeses to someone else, no's to ourselves, chipped away at our confidence. Every time we self-reject, we're telling ourselves that our needs don't matter. And before you know it, it becomes a habit that quietly follows you everywhere else. So when I finally asked Moritz to look into real solutions, such like surgery, initially, he pushed back. From earplugs to surgery. Don't you think that's a bit extreme? He hesitated. But for once, I stood firm. Yes, Moritz, I need this. My sleep matters. Eventually, he agreed. While the surgery wasn't easy, it was worth it. Not only for the restful sleep I finally got, but for something much deeper. Asking for what I needed, believing that I deserved it, ignited a profound shift inside me. It showed me that honoring my needs at home is the very first step to honoring my needs everywhere else as well, to claiming my power everywhere. My story isn't unique. In my daily work, I help professional women build confidence in their competence, positioning them to better advance in their career, negotiate bigger packages and opportunities they rightfully deserve. I know so many of them who tick every box of success. Yet, when it's come to the time to ask a seat at the table, they hesitate. Why? Because we have been deeply conditioned to compromise, to put others first, to believe that we need to be chosen to move forward. Just like Cinderella waiting for the glass slipper. We wait for someone to grant us permission, to recognize us, to validate that we are ready. What if we stop waiting for someone to pick us? What if instead of waiting for approval, we choose ourselves? What if we get to choose when we are ready? Let me share with you a story of Michelle. Michelle is one of my clients who works in the financial industry, who checks every box of success, has a stellar record of business. However, she has been passed over promotion for promotion in favor of less competent men. Every time the argument was, Michelle lacked executive presence and the confidence to lead. And every time when she heard this, her confidence chipped away a little bit more. Eventually, she told herself, well, this is probably the furthest I could ever got. And one day, we were running a workshop at the company. During the break, she shared with me, she was venting about her husband, Dave, just like Moritz, who has become a loud snorer over the past years. And she was stunned when I shared with her how Moritz had undergone surgery to fix his snoring. And she confessed she could never possibly selfishly ask Dave to do something that drastic just for her own comfort. And she was convinced, even if she were to really ask Dave, he will shut it down immediately. There's no point to ask at all. However, As we sat there, it became clear. Just like me, Michelle has actually never made the ask Dave to do anything about it. Not even once. And that moment hit Michelle like a wake-up call. She realized that she has been holding back in so many areas in their personal lives, assuming the answer would be no without even making the ask. By avoiding the ask, she has been silently reinforcing self-limiting beliefs everywhere else. So with this new gained clarity, Michelle decided she's going to confront Dave with something much more difficult to address than the snoring. Something she had been holding back for 30 years. So when she asked me to facilitate the conversation, I knew it would be pivotal in her journey. So we set up a meeting in my office and with Dave present. And I guided them through some of the questions. While the conversation deepened, Michelle found her opening. And she took a big breath. Dave, there's something I need to tell you. Something that's really hard to say. That thing you do with your finger every time when we have sex? Huh? What thing with my finger? That thing with your finger! You do this every time. You have been doing this for the past 30 years, and I never liked it. What? Wait, you mean you never liked it? All this time? Past 30 years? And you are only telling me this now? Well, as it turns out, women, yes, are just so good at holding back our discomforts. Well, to Michelle's surprise, Dave didn't get defensive. He was willing to listen, to understand, and to change. And this was such a powerful realization for Michelle that speaking up about her needs didn't drive them apart, but it brought them even closer. So over the next few weeks, Michelle started to recognize change in herself. At work, she recognized that this newfound confidence she has built with Dave began to seep into her professional life. At work, she started to advocate for her ideas much more assertively. She wasn't just presenting her thoughts, she was owning them. Every time she voiced a need and received a yes, it wasn't just about getting what she wanted, but it was about feeling empowered to ask in the first place. The more Michelle exercised this, the more confident she became. This shift in mindset, deeply rooted in the courage to openly express herself, completely transformed Michelle's private life with Dave and her professional life at work. So when the next promotion opportunity came around, Michelle was ready. She didn't wait anybody to pick her. She stepped up and made her case confidently as the best candidate. And of course, she got the job. In the Chinese culture, we have a saying, 滴水穿石, dripping water wears through stone. Building confidence is much the same. Every time you speak up at home, you're exercising a muscle that grows stronger with each use. When you find the courage to voice your needs to those closest to you, you are building a foundation of self-assurance that naturally carries into every other area of your life. So think about it. Ask yourself, what am I holding back? Why am I settling for less? Why am I not speaking up? Shattering the glass ceiling doesn't start in the office. It starts by breaking down the walls you have built at home. So tonight, think about that one conversation you have been putting off in the bedroom. Maybe it's a particular finger movement you don't quite appreciate. Or maybe it's time to tell your partner, well, the laundry fairy doesn't really exist. It's all you. So start there. Have that conversation tonight. And get ready. The most profound transformation happens when you start to advocate your desire at home. Because confidence in the bedroom leads to confidence in the boardroom. Thank you.